Okay, hey guys, how's it going? So, this is like take two. I know people don't usually admit this, but this is like take two of my breakdown of art fashion ideas. First of all, shout out to this is Antoine. He's a YouTuber whose channel is titled This is Antoine. I'll put an image right here. Hopefully, I get that right. Um, and I'll also put a link in the description of his channel as well because he's inspired this video. I love watching his stuff. Um, so the reason why I'm making this little video is because I'm really into fashion. That's one of the main things I like to look at and gain inspiration from. So yeah, here we go. So yeah, shout out to Anton. He put me onto this brand called Machine 56. This brand does a lot of graphics on their clothing. They produce like futuristic clothing, and they do a lot of different futuristic hoodies and jackets and legwear as well. But the thing that makes them different is that they put a bunch of logos everywhere, like a bunch of Japanese futuristic text all over the garment. That's what makes them stand out. For a lot of people, I think this kind of design and aesthetic is a bit much because it is very busy and it's very like, look at me, you know. But obviously, that's the aesthetic and it's very cool. So, shout out to Machine 56. That's a clothing brand that, I mean, a lot of clothing brands, they do want you to look at their clothing. They do want you to, they do want to attract your eyes to certain parts of the clothing. And Machine 56, they really do that in a unique way. Their stuff is actually very similar to anime clothing, should I say. Like clothing you would see in various anime, like with characters wearing, because they have a lot of flamboyance and what's the term? They're attractive, but in a very busy and cartoonish way. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention them because it's my stuff is the stuff I've created with my own sort of brand that I put on this channel a few weeks ago. Is also quite busy, I guess. Like the graphics on the front and the back, and on the left and the right sleeve, they're all like, look at me, you know, they're all aspects of identity. So that's why I thought I'd mention Machine 56. I'll put up a couple of pictures of some of their stuff in here. But the brands that I wanted to speak about mostly was was Acronym and Y3. Y3 is an Adidas collaboration with Yoji Yamamoto. Some of you may know who that is, but he's a well-known fashion designer, a Japanese fashion designer, and recently I saw some of their stuff. I don't know if he's designed this himself, but I'll put a picture of one of the jackets that I would love to have, like right here. It looks crazy. It's this black jacket with some of these crazy stripes. But shout out to Y3. And Acronym is a brand that's collaborated with Nike. They were discovered in, I thought they were relatively a new brand, but they've actually been around for a while. They've been around since sorry, gotta have the research. Gotta have the research, guys. Okay, yeah, they were discovered in Germany in the 1990s. I believe 1994 is when they started or when they began their operations. But obviously, Acronym is in collaboration with Nike and Y3 is in collaboration with Adidas, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this is because some of my fashion ideas would go hand in hand with some of these companies. So I'm gonna quickly show you some of the sketches I've done here, and then I'm gonna put up like a bunch of different images all over the screen to show you my fashion ideas. Okay, so I don't know if I spoke about this before, but here we have like a female angel. Well, kind of. Basically, you see this sort of flowing dress. These are the kind of futuristic designs that I design. And if you look at fashion, a lot of it is very extra and out there. You know, a lot of it is not practical stuff you could wear. But that's one example right here. And then we've got this guy right here. He's like an American footballer. That was the idea, with an afro. And then obviously you see his flowing jacket. Like a lot of the designs, the way I try to draw them, like my fashion ideas essentially, is they are almost part of the physical form itself. So as you can see, this part here of his chest is almost bare, right? And then this jacket almost flows out of his pecs, right? It's part of his body essentially. That's how I like to draw my designs. Like, you don't know where the human body begins and where the clothing ends, you know? So let me see if I've got any other good examples in here. I should have had all of this ready, to be honest. So yeah, this is another one. Another fashion design idea here. This one I called it Elegant Savage. As you can see, just a woman, a female form here, with a very hairy dress, right? So it's like if you saw a feral human being out there in the wild, they wouldn't look necessarily as elegant, right? They wouldn't look as well kept. But this design here, I might put like a cleaner version of it here on the screen, but this is the elegant version of that feral human. But as you can see, the clothing and the human form are like intertwined. It's not like she's wearing the clothing. It's like the clothing is part of her form. Okay, this again, I call this one the ambassador. Like, if I had a big company, right? If I had a big company, and we ran shows like fashion shows and stuff, this would be one of the sort of types of clothing they would be wearing. Obviously this, looking at it naturally, looks like body armor, similar to Deus Ex. I'll put it obviously. But with a few tweaks, you could make that into like a jacket, right? Because, you know, this is just like a flowing long jacket, and it's almost like zipped up here, and then he's like wearing a shirt under it. So if I had a big company and we were running shows, this is what some of the hosts would be wearing. Man, I've got so many of these designs. Obviously, we don't want this video to be, you know, too long. But this is my drawing of Minerva, right? The goddess of war in Greek mythology, I think. But as you can see, her dress, very elegant. Even though she's, in this image here, she was meant to be like a celestial being. But yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, if I was working with Acronym or Yohji Yamamoto's Y3 group, you see this jacket here? I'll try and put a clearer image on the video for you guys. But as you can see, a very simple jacket. but you see the fur on the collar and on the bottom here. And then obviously it would have some of those acronym elements, such as the belts and, you know, some of the markers that makes Y3 and acronym like special and likes. That was literally the main feature of this particular book that I wanted to showcase here. I might break down this book at some point. I think I already did, but I may do it again. So yeah, not to bore anyone, but one thing that Anton, again, shout out to this is Anton, but one thing he mentions as well is, like he speaks about in his videos, is fashion subcultures, right? Like fashion subcultures vary quite a lot, you know. Obviously there's the specific cultures that people know, and then within those there are subcultures that come from them, right? Like techwear is a subculture of like streetwear kind of, but it's also a mix of streetwear and functionality, right? Practical clothing you can wear on hikes and you know, on like arduous journeys and like in the elements, so to speak. So techwear is one of the sort of subcultures, and within techwear there's even more subcultures. So the reason why I'm talking about this to simplify it is, shout out to Anton. One of the subcultures he pointed me out to was called, apart from techwear, which is a subculture of its own, I think, there's also warcore. I'll put the description here, but warcore is like a subculture of techwear where you get all the elements you get in techwear, but with more straps and zips and more tactical looking clothing. Techwear is tactical looking, it's got a tactical aesthetic as well, but it's not as heavily focused as it is in warcore, because warcore is meant to be a bit more military focused. So I'm gonna demonstrate some of my stuff, and another shout out I wanted to give was to Kate Fox as well. Kate Fox is an artist that I found on DeviantArts back in the day when I was using DeviantArt quite a lot. The stuff I got from her mostly was reference images that I use even to this day to draw some of my designs. One of my latest designs is this woman. It's kind of incomplete at the moment, but she's like kind of dancing, kind of just moving. But as you can see, the dress is almost like attached to the top here, but it's like a very different thing. Because I like to mix different concepts when I draw and stuff, so obviously that's what's happening there. This is a relatively new book, so I don't have anything in there, but yeah, I thought I'd just do a little breakdown of my art fashion ideas. I mean, I've got so many more, but I don't want to make this video too long. So yeah, shout out to This is Anton YouTube channel. If you see this video, check it out, I mean. Shout out to Machine 56, and shout out to Yoji Yamamoto's Y3, and shout out to Acronym as well. I guess that's it for now. Maybe I'll do another part to this, but yeah.